Welcome to the Outpouring podcast. This is your host, Vincenzo Mera, and before I deliver my take on this, guys, I'm just asking you to have an open mind. A lot of people will make themselves to be fools because they're going to answer a matter before they hear the conclusion of it. So please, I'm just asking you to respond well to what I have to say today, and you can disagree with me. This is not a salvific issue, but the topic is whether this is the most convincing flat earth argument or not. And I'm not here for you guys to say, yeah, that was the most convincing argument. No, I just want you guys to understand the biblical truth, and I'm telling you, as of right now in this moment, don't listen to me, don't listen to other people online. Just listen to the Holy Spirit, read the Word of God, see what you can get from it. I'm not here to change your stance or whatever else. I'm just going to tell you what I believe in, and clearly by this title, you know that I do believe that the earth is not spherical. I believe that it is flat, and I will be giving my take on this. Now, James chapter 3, verse 1 says, "My brethren, let not all of you become teachers, because we will be judged to a harsher degree." So I don't just come up with this video for fun. I mean, we see tons of Christian influencers and top, Christian guys saying, all right, this is definitive proof as to why the earth is a sphere, or this is proof why the earth is a globe, this is proof why the earth is flat. And no, I'm just saying, hey, here's my stance. This is what I believe in. I believe that the Word of God shows this, but as whether to make definitive statements or not, I don't want to do that like for you guys or whatever else. Just hear what I have to say. Don't be so closed off to this. And I wouldn't be making such a topic like this if I wasn't nudged to do it. I pray about the topics that I should speak about, and this one's been burning me because I've seen some other big names recently talk about the shape of the earth. You see Vlad Savchuk, which I do love him. He's a great teacher. But Greg Locke and some of these other guys. So yeah, we're gonna get into it. And like I said, please have an open mind. Many of us once believed in a pre-tribulation rapture, but once we read deeper into the Bible, we now believe in a post-tribulation rapture, according to the Bible. So, yeah, just let God be true and every man a liar. And, so before we go to the science, which is always changing, let's get right into the Word of God. And I have a lot of things written down for you guys. But it says, let's hear what the Bible has to say about the earth and the shape of it. So, the Bible says the earth is a circle. Isaiah chapter 40, verse 22. Now, before you guys shut off and say, look, this guy said it's a circle, I'm not, no. Because, if you're holding a dinner plate, well, it's a circle, but now it's flat, and we'll get more into this. But the Bible says the earth is a circle, Isaiah 40, 22, made with a compass, Proverbs 8, 27, laid upon a face, and a face is flat, Genesis 1, 2. And I'm going to be expanding on these verses, which is bounded, Job 26:10, at its ends, Job 38:13. It does not move, Psalm 93:1, and is covered by a dome or a firmament, Genesis 1:6-8, containing the sun, moon, and stars, Genesis 1:14-18, which are revolving. Now we learned that in the book of Enoch 75:3-4. I'm not saying these non-canon books are factual. I can't say that whether or not, but I'm telling you that the Bible does reference certain non-canon books, and this is one of them where I do believe it does contain specific facts concerning the shape of the earth and the coordinate of the stars. So it says that which are revolving, above and below is water, Genesis 1:6-8 again. So Isaiah chapter 40 verse 22 says, "It is he who sits above the circle of the earth, and its inhabitants are like grasshoppers, who stretches out the heavens like a curtain, and spreads them out like a tent to dwell in." So it's saying that God sits above the circle of the earth. When he looks down on the earth, it appears before him like a circle. Now, it doesn't say a sphere, but even then, if you look down, he says it's like a circle, and it's not just saying what it looks like to him. No, it says he sits above the circle of the earth, and its inhabitants are like grasshoppers, so everyone in it, who stretches out the heavens like a curtain and spreads them out like a tent to dwell in. So we're like in this tent because we know that the earth is the land underneath the firmament. Because and we'll get into this in Genesis, but God made a firmament in the midst of the water, so it's like a tent that has everything else inside, and he sits above it and he sees inside. And I just want you to have this picture here. Proverbs 8:27 says, "When he prepared the heavens, I was there. When he drew a circle on the face of the deep." So a face is always flat. You see the face of a table, a counter, the face of a throne, it's always flat. So in Proverbs 8, he's saying that when he drew a circle on the face, He didn't draw a circle on a ball. He drew a circle on the face of the deep. Okay? Genesis chapter 1 verse 2. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Again, over the face of the waters. The earth was without form and void. So he's talking about how he was hovering over this face, not anything else, but he had to make the firmament within the waters. Now listen, he says, Job 26:10, he drew a circular horizon on the face of the waters at the boundary of light and darkness. So when you think of horizon, you think of horizontal, and something that is horizontal or horizon is flat. There's a flat line. Even when you see the horizon of the sun setting, you say, look at the horizon, it appears to be flat. And we're going to be going deeper into that. You say, well, brother, what about the ships that go over the horizon? And I'm going to be discussing simply the laws of perspective. Now, I could go many hours and parts and days on this topic, but I really do want to get through it in as brief as possible. But this does mean that I will be going through the Bible. I will be going through lies and deceptions within NASA and other scientific lies that were taught in the textbooks and from the media and the programming that we've received. I will be going over certain scientific experiments and proofs that it's not, and whatever else, but I'm going to try to make this brief as possible. So, and that means I'm going to have to talk about the sun, the moon, the stars, and everything else. Okay? So Job 38:13 says that it might take hold of the ends of the earth, and the wicked should be shaken out of it. So it's bounded, right? Psalm 93:1, the Lord reigns. He is clothed with majesty. The Lord is clothed. He has girded himself with strength. Surely the world is established so that it cannot be moved. So you believe in this spherical earth that spins 1,000 miles within itself and 67,000 miles in an orbit. Meanwhile, the Bible clearly says in Psalm 93:1, surely the world is established so that it cannot be moved. Genesis 1:6-8. Then God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. Thus God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. So the evening and the morning were the second day. So he's dividing the waters from the waters. In other words, he's hovering over these waters and he's dividing the heavens from the abyss. Because the abyss is the deep, or otherwise the waters, right? And everything else under. And God had to divide it, placing the earth at the center of creation, not the sun. We'll be getting into that. Genesis 1:14-18 says, then God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and seasons, and for days and years, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heavens to give light on the earth. And it was so. Then God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. God set them in the firmament of the heavens to give light on the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. Why do I have to bring that up? Because God is specifically saying, hey, he made a light for the day, the sun, and a light for the night, the moon, and the lights of the stars to light up the sky at night. And he says that these are all within the firmament. So if God made the earth within the firmament, the sun, the moon, and the stars are within the firmament. It is not out in outer space. Which, what even is outer space? We're going to get into that. Why is the sky blue? Science can't tell you, but the Bible's very clear about it, dividing the waters from the waters. And then Enoch 75:3-4 to go in the revolving circuits of the stars says, for the signs and the times and the years and the days were shown to me by the angel Uriel, whom the Lord of eternal glory has placed in charge of all the lights of heaven, and in heaven and in the world, so that they might rule on the face of heaven, and appear over the earth, and be leaders of day and night, the sun, the moon, the stars, and all the servant creatures who revolve in all the chariots of the heaven. They revolve. Now, Psalm 19 basically says that God set a tabernacle in Hebrew, like which means a tent, over the sun, and it runs on a circuit, like a man running a race. So the sun is on a circuit, not the earth. And I actually have the verse here to prove it to you guys. And I'm actually going to start with Psalm 19:1 and go through verse 6. It says, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows his handiwork. Day unto day utters speech, and night unto night reveals knowledge. There is no speech or language where their voice is not heard. Their line has gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. Listen to this about that. In them he has set a tabernacle for the sun, which is like a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoices like a strong man to run its race. Its rising is from one end of the heaven, and its circuit to the other end, and there is nothing hidden from its heat. So it's like a strong man running its race in a circuit, going from one end of the heaven to the other, coming back around. You see how God describes it, and it has a tabernacle set over it. Oh, but brother, you're telling me that the sun has like a tent over it? Well, according to Psalm 19, the Bible is very clear, and Genesis chapter 1, that the sun, the moon, and the stars are within the firmament. And let me, while I go through these extra things, those of you who still believe in a spherical earth and say it's biblical, let me ask, where does a firmament come into play with this spherical earth and the heliocentric system and not the geocentric? Now we're going to get deeper into this, but first let me talk about the firmament, right? And think about that while I talk about the firmament. So God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. And the firmament, as the name itself implies, is a firm existence, the solid dome, because the Hebrew word for firmament means dome, which the earth is below it. And if you read through Genesis chapter 1, you actually get shocked because you see that God named the dry land earth, not the planet earth, the dry land beneath it, earth. So, as it says in Job chapter 37, verse 18, "Hast thou like him spread out the sky, which is strong as a molten looking glass?" So this firmament, he spread out the sky. The firmament, the things above, you go deep enough, it is strong as a molten looking glass, right? And if it's like a glass, it's transparent. And if it divides the waters from the waters, you could see the transparent from the molten looking glass of the blue of the waters. Why is the sky blue? Well, that kind of answers it, but there's more to it. So, I don't entirely know what the firmament is made of, and I don't know whether any man does, but the Bible does talk about certain stones and certain things, and I have an idea that it's made of sapphire and that it is impenetrable because man in his physical state cannot be in the heavens. So as the firmament surrounds the earth, it comes down to an end. So like a dome. Picture, honestly, like this is going to be like ridiculous, and we're going to talk about how the Bible explains how the earth is like God's footstool, but picture it like in the meantime, like a snow globe, right? And a snow globe has like that glass around it, and it comes down. And that's the firmament coming down to an end where it reaches the large ice wall surrounding the earth. And God set a firm boundary for the seas so that they would never again cover the earth. That's Psalm chapter 104, verse 9. And you say, well, brother, what's the ice wall? Go and prove it. What's the ice wall? And, you might be asking what that is. And I tell you, it's Antarctica. It is not the continent that you think you've come to know on a map. Please bear with me in this biblical section, and I will further go on and explain the ice wall with picture proof, expeditions, and scientific proof that Antarctica is not a continent, but rather an ice wall that they've been lying about to you for years. Okay? And you guys know where the pictures. I'm going to show the pictures, okay? Bear with me. So then Ezekiel chapter 10 verse 1 says, "Then I looked, and behold, in the firmament that was above the head of the cherubims, there appeared over them as it were a sapphire stone, as the appearance of the likeness of a throne." And then Revelation 4:6 says, "And before the throne there was a sea of glass unto crystal, and in the midst of the throne and round about the throne were 4 beasts full of eyes before and behind." So God sits at a heavenly throne above the firmament. Below, on the bottom siding of the firmament, is the ice wall and ends of the sapphire firmament, creating the shape of a circle underneath. And then the earth is itself, like I said, the land below the heavenly oceans, and it is flat. Job chapter 38 verse 19 talks about this, saying, "It is like clay under the seal, and its features stand out like a garment." Clay pressed under a seal, circular, with its features standing out like a garment. Right? I should know that beyond the circular ice wall and firmament bounds is the complete shape of a square, like a footstool, with the corners of the earth lying outside of the firmament. So in Revelation 7:1 it says, "After this I saw 4 angels standing at the 4 corners of the earth. Where in the world are the corners of the earth and a firmament? And why is the sky blue?" See, here are all these questions. Where does this come into play with a spherical Earth that you've been taught by NASA, by your educational system, by your parents, and by the fake media news? Okay, and I need to talk about this because we've been programmed to believe in a lie and a deception. You might say, brother, but this is just a conspiracy. Why is it important that we talk about this? Because they call it a solar system, having everything revolve around the sun. Pagan worship had everything to do revolving around the sun. And bear with me, is that solar system luring the soul away from the biblical truth, playing into Darwinism, a Big Bang Theory, atheistic truths, which are complete lies. And I'm going to get into why and how you believe in a deception if you believe in the spherical Earth. But like I said, there are these four corners, and the Bible says very clearly the four corners of the earth, okay? And it says, in Isaiah chapter 66, verse 1, it says, "Heaven is my throne, and the earth my footstool, says the Lord." 1 Samuel 2:8 says, "For the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and on them he has set the world." A footstool has those four legs, and the corners of it, like the four pillars of the earth. And a lot of people are going to come to that verse, and they're going to say, oh, well, the earth hangs on nothing. Well, yeah, that's true. The earth does hang on nothing because it's supported by four pillars, and it's in the midst of the waters, just like how your table is not hanging on anything. It's supported by four legs. Let's keep going. Revelation 21, "Then I saw an angel coming down from heaven, holding in his hand the key to the bottomless pit." Okay, and where does the bottomless pit lead to? I mean, what is this, like hell, an abyss where people are locked? Now, where exactly does hell come into play on a spherical earth? And wait a minute, if the earth is going 1,000 miles like this and 67,000 miles like this, and we know that heaven's above and hell's below, what's above and what's below? When it's going like this in all these directions, what's above and what's below in a spherical earth heliocentric system? You see, and I'll even talk about how helios play into zodiacs and witchcraft, because you want to get there. I'm telling you, we need to talk about it, because when big Christian influencers are talking about how, that the Bible says that the earth is spherical and this and that, but they have no proof and they're not using much Bible and they're playing into the deception, into the masses, then I'm going to speak out. And I actually wanted to talk about this a couple weeks ago, but I was afraid to. But I said, you know what? I don't care who unsubscribes or who calls me crazy. I believed in this for years when the Lord opened up my eyes to it 6 years ago, and I'm going to talk about it now. So, where, all right, let's go to Revelation 1:7. I'm not even going to ask you guys that, but it says, "Behold, he is coming with the clouds, and every eye will see him." So on a flat earth, everybody will see the thing in the sky. As everybody can either see the sun or the moon, because we're on a flat earth, everybody will see him, Jesus, coming in the clouds, okay? And then Revelation 21:16 says, "The city was laid out like a square, as long and high as it is wide, and he measured the city 1,400 miles. It says, as long as wide makes a perfect square of 1,400 miles. But this wouldn't be possible with the curvature square feet ratio of a spherical earth. Think about that, okay? Now let's talk more about the colors in the sky that we see. The sky and lighter than air gases and electricity. Helium is pinkish/orange, neon is reddish and orange, hydrogen is reddish, nitrogen is yellow and blue, and these gases, they rise to the top of the enclosed system and come into contact with the electromagnetic dome. And I'm not saying, oh, you're going to get shocked and you touch this. No, okay? This because being that I believe in a flat earth stance, I'm going to have to talk about gravity, densities, electromagnetivity, and how things stay and remain the way they are on this earth that the Lord has made. But Matthew chapter 4, verse 8 says, "Again, the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world." Only on a flat earth will you be able to see the whole earth, not a sphere. And finally, in Matthew 24:29, it says, "The moon shall not give her light, and the stars will fall from heaven." This refers to the fact that the moon is self-illuminating, and it is within the firmament as the sun is. Attached to the firmament are heavenly stars lighting up the sky. In a spherical earth that spins 1,000 miles within itself, and like I said, 67,000 miles in an orbit, which I want you to look this up on space.com or NASA. That 67,000 is just a rounded up number for 66.6 thousand, because this is Freemason evil science, and I'm here to expose it, okay? You see, in a spherical earth that spins in all these different ways, the star coordinates, they would change. You would see different stars on one side of the Earth as he would the other, but that's not true. We see the same stars because we're on a flat Earth and on an Earth that doesn't move. Not to mention, 1 Chronicles 16:30 says the world also shall be stable, that it shall not be moved. And this is also said in Psalm 96:10, Psalm 93:1, Psalm 11:8, even talking about the height and depth establishment of the foundations of the world, okay? And yeah, I'm going to be sharing more biblical arguments, but I want to get into debunking arguments that the Earth is a sphere, okay? People say we have pictures of the Earth from space, and here's my question to you. You ask where my photos are, and I'll put up what I can, but where are your photos? Look at them and tell me with a straight face that they're not CGI, okay? Go on Google and type in pictures of Earth from space, and tell me one of those is real. Tell me one of those is true, okay? Because I've seen them, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. It's all CGI. They're computer-generated images, and it's the Matrix, right?
The Matrix is a computer-generated dream world, built to keep us under control.
I mean, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to get into a whole bunch of conspiracies, but you know what? Let me tell you something. The Christian community is afraid to talk about conspiracies because they're saying, oh, conspiracy freaks, conspiracy theorists, this and that. But if you don't believe that men conspire to hold power and to do evil things, then I'm afraid that you've been brainwashed, because these evil men who are conspiring and deceiving the masses are being run by the devil, and the devil is the lowercase g god of this world who's blinded the minds of those in it, and of course he's going to use influencers and people in the dark to run things. And if you don't believe that men conspire for evil purposes, then I cannot help you. Now, are there conspiracy theories that are ridiculous and stupid and completely not real? Absolutely. But there's a reason why the CIA had to coin the term conspiracy theory, and to make people seem like they were crazy, you know? But anyways, people say we can watch a ship go over the horizon. And how can anyone claim that we have to go higher to see the curve, but also claim that boats disappear over it? You see, the horizon is always eye level. And there are different experiments that have been, like with military lasers that will go over one area all the way over a horizon, and it'll still hit the ship from there. And just because the ship is far away, it doesn't mean that it got smaller. It just appears to be smaller, because the closer it comes to you, the larger it appears to be, even though the ship never changed in size. It's all the law of perspective, you know? That's why in a distance you can only see the tops of buildings and not the bottoms. It didn't mean that the bottoms fell off. So we'll get more into that, and I'm going to be showing you certain diagrams. Even as I speak for this, I need to show a lot of diagrams and pictures, otherwise I'm the crazy guy. And I'm crazy anyways, but whatever. People say we watch this, you say that we watch the sun go down, and I'll say our vision is limited due to perspective, refraction, and is also altered by atmospheric lensing. Refraction is when light or radio waves change direction due to indirectly passing through the meeting point of varying mediums and densities. Atmospheric lensing occurs when moisture in the air causes magnification and light amplification. This is why sunsets over water are typically huge while appearing much smaller over a desert. The sun setting is not evidence for Earth's rotation. It is evidence of the law of perspective. Otherwise, when you see a sunset on a spherical Earth, you could say, well, you don't say, oh, the sun is moving, because you already believe that the sun is stationary, that everything revolves around the sun, but you see it move, okay? And I'm just telling you about the evidence of the laws of perspective. Now, according to the Bible, the sun has a circuit and it does rotate, and I truly believe that, and as it travels farther away in distance, it appears to be smaller, even though the sun did not change size, it just went further away, okay? And that's why it's the largest, I believe, at noon when it's right over you, because it's closest to you, you know? But let's see. It says, the vanishing points appear left and right above eye level is different because the sky is far above. You can see much more sky than land. I already talked about buildings appearing to vanish bottom first. As objects get further away from the observer, they appear to shrink. This is due to, and here's the scientific term, angular resolution. If the angle to the bottom of the building is smaller than the angle to the top, the bottom of the building will appear to reach the observer's eye level at a shorter distance. Beyond this point, only the section of the building located above the observer's eye level will be visible. A pair of binoculars will allow you to see what has been lost in view, for example, a ship or tall building and the bottoms of it, exactly explaining what happens during a horizon. Now, The Earth has an incredibly broad face. So in perspective, you can see the stars rise and set, just like the sun and the moon. The horizon is always flat, and so is any horizontal for that matter. It will never start to curve whether you're at 30,000 feet or 130,000 feet. The convex curve you believe is a lie. Furthermore, how can a ball be 71% flat water? Okay, and water, and here's why I say that, is that water always finds its level and never curves in a curvature shape. How could water find its level on a ball? Also, do you mean to tell me that you really believe that there is a ship sailing an ocean upside down right below you? I mean, to me, I just, like, it just sounds ridiculous, but, show me an experiment where water does not find its level, where it curves around a ball. It doesn't make sense, because even though the saying, water always finds its level. So how exactly could a ball be 71% flat water? And like I said, I'm going through diagrams and pictures here. So here is more anti-curvature evidence. On Mount Everest, an observer sees the horizon roughly 230 miles away. The Earth should curve at 35,000 feet. Why doesn't the observer see the curvature? Research River of Grass. It is missing over 5,000 feet of curvature in all directions. And here lie 3 more examples of merely thousands. 1. Port Nicholson Lighthouse in New Zealand stands 420 feet above sea level and is visible from 35 miles away. At this distance, using the globe model, we should expect it to be hidden behind 220 feet of curvature. Balcony of the Alps, you can see for 190 miles, no curvature. Chicago, that was 2, and here's number 3. Chicago is 40 miles across Lake Michigan, but at this distance, Chicago should be 1,060 feet below the horizon. With a naked eye, you can see Chicago from across Lake Michigan, and I'll throw in a bonus for you, because I know a lot of you guys say, oh, outside of my plane, I saw the curvature. And here's the thing, is that and I'm going to show another picture for you guys, is that the corners of the plane windows are warped, so you see something a little bit. But next time you go on a plane, I really want you to look out the window and see the lack of curvature, how flat everything appears to be. And what, do you still have to go higher to see the curvature? Please, do not be deceived, okay? Now, we have different time zones because the sun shines on one part of the Earth and the moon on the other part. People say that they talk about gravity, how it pulls everything to the center, making the Earth and planets a sphere, like a ball. However, if you look up the definition of gravity, I don't think it says this anymore until about 7 years ago when they changed it. But for the longest time, it was known as a theory, okay? It was the theory of gravity because there was no specific way to prove it. And you say, oh, but brother, gravity is true because I'm not just floating up in the air. And I'm going to tell you, it's because there are certain things that are more dense than the others, I mean, you are heavier than the air, but helium is lighter than the air. That's why a balloon goes up. But this also gets into electromagnetivity and densities. And actually, I'm going to talk specifically about this now because I don't want you to be too confused. But if gravity were true, then it would pull the morning dew off of a blade of grass in the morning, and just like how it holds down the oceans. However, it's not strong enough to do that. Now, this is the science behind it. Dielectric acceleration is magnetic attraction. Static force is the force in between two objects of opposite electrical charge. We observe static electricity and static charge, different buoyancy and densities, okay? Simply, there are two occurring forces, not gravity. It is the force in motion and inertia and acceleration. Dielectric permittivity is the ability of a substance to store electrical charge. Resistance is the use of force to oppose something. Capacitance is the ability of a system to store an electrical charge. Magnetic permeability is the measuring of the magnetic field. Gravity doesn't exist. Only dielectric acceleration to magnetic attraction. This is why an anvil is capable of floating over a pool of mercury. And I should note that the centrifugal force is also false, because with this in mind, the strongest pole should be at the equator and weakest towards the poles of the ball, but this is also incorrect. You're saying, brother, what even is a centrifugal force? Don't even talk to me if you don't know what a centrifugal force is, if you claim to say, oh, well, this is what gravity does, okay? Now, people will say space exploration photos clearly show that Earth is around like a ball. However, these deceivers have put everything into a fisheye lens. And this is not always the case, okay? But here's a couple examples I'm going to show up on the screen. We are going to get into the moon landing. Listen, this is one of the hardest things to get people to believe in. Even when they read the Bible, they say, you know what? I still believe the earth is a sphere, okay? And I'm going to say a lot of it has to do with cognitive dissonance. And programming, you know, we're taught in school, on the media, and everything, that the earth is a sphere and like the shape of a ball. And I'm going to tell you why they've wanted to deceive you for it, because there are much more sinister purposes than you could imagine for it. Okay, so we already talked about the plane window curvature, and I said the sides of a plane window are warped to slightly bend only at the ends of the windows. What about, you'll say, what about space, brother? And I'll say that the Spirit of God hovered over the waters, not the vacuum of space, okay? And that should be important, because let me ask you a question. Why doesn't the Bible ever talk about the vacuum of space? That we're just a little speck in an infinite universe. It just makes no sense. It says the Spirit of God hovered over the waters, not the vacuum of space, okay? Into the next topic, we'll be talking about modern science concerning the earth is not only wrong, but demonic and also deceiving. So why would they lie about the shape of the earth? And I'm putting this up on the screen. It says, why would they lie? Simply put, no globe means no rotation, no orbit, that the earth is not heliocentric, meaning that it has to be geocentric, that there's no Big Bang. And then this all plays into the Big Bang Theory, right? So that means that there would be no Big Bang Theory, no Darwinism or evolution. There's no missing link. We're not random. We are unique. We are the center of everything. And obviously, like God is the center of everything, but I'm saying he placed earth at the center of creation. We are an intelligent design created by God. And, this would be help in the awakening of mankind and the end of the New World Order. And I'm not talking about some weird spiritual awakening. No, I'm talking about knowledge and wisdom from the Lord above. Okay? And obviously this is not going to happen. There's not going to be any end of the New World Order, because everything is going to come into a one world order. There's going to be the beast system and Babylon. And you guys know all of this. A one world currency, complete control, but so on. So let's get into the NASA lies, okay? Because NASA I'm going to put out this logo right here. Here's the NASA logo, right? And you see in the logo, the red is actually a serpent tongue. And in Hebrew, right here, NASA means deceivers. It means liars, okay? And if you type in Earth from space, you will realize, like I said earlier, that the Matrix is a computer-generated dream world. Type in Google NASA photos of planets, and you will see that every single one of them is CGI. And there is no way that you could tell me with a straight face that you believe any of those photos is real, okay? And forgive me if I'm going a little fast, but I need to get through this. Is that other than NASA, there are 3 other space agencies, 4 of which are NASA, Roscosmos, JAXA, and ESA, from different parts of the world, which all have different versions of a spherical Earth, each of which are clearly CGI and computer or artistically designed and unreal. Okay, look at these. I mean, why are they all contradicting? Why do they claim that these pictures are from space when they're clearly not? Okay, and now I'm going to ask you a question, my listener. Who is Mr. Blue Marble? And now there's a man who works for NASA. His name is Robert Simon. He's a designer and a data visualizer nicknamed Mr. Blue Marble. He said concerning the Earth, it is photoshopped, but it has to be, in quotes. He also said, in quotes, we wrapped the flat map around a ball. My part was integrating the surface, clouds, and oceans to match people's expectations of how Earth looks like from space. That ball became the famous blue marble, end in quotes, because his job at NASA is a graphic designer. So why else does NASA hire graphic designers and hire artists? They paint pictures of other worlds, planets, galaxies, etc. It's a delicate blend of imagination and detail. Look at these photos and tell me you believe in them. Look at NASA's photos of the black hole from 50 million light years away. And it's just this little light. I could probably take a picture of it like a candle light from when it's midnight. Like, it's just ridiculous. Now look at these. The 2002 and 2007 NASA images of Earth have the exact same cloud patterns, many of which are copied and pasted within themselves. These parallels can also be seen between other NASA years of the Earth. Look at Lake Tahoe, which is 22 miles in length on NASA's Earth, and tell me how small Earth appears in comparison to this lake. The Pobatite Kamani in Bulgaria has the location of NASA's original photo of Mars. Okay? You say, brother, why are you even talking about NASA? Because you believe in a spherical Earth, and these are the only photos and explanations they have for them, so I'm going to be talking to you about why this is full of lies, okay? Let's talk about the International Space Station. If you were to zoom in from the ISS, let me ask you, would the view of Sydney, Australia be upside down? No. Furthermore, the equator is supposedly the hottest place on Earth. So what about the tilt? The Earth exploration is at a 12-kilometer limit, while the ocean is at an 8-kilometer limit. But suddenly we can discover 1,000 miles into outer space. Does that make any sense? Think about these questions, guys. Come on. Look at this. The 1927 Universal picture had the Earth as a globe. How would they know before NASA about the Earth being a globe? Because I don't think NASA came out with that until like 1957 or 58. How would they know? Was this a programming? Was this a design and a plan before? You know, the supposed godfather of NASA, the man who made it, Werner von Braun, on his gravestone is written Psalm 19:1, which I read earlier. It says, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. And we read later about how everything is within the firmament. Why would the man who created NASA talk about the firmament and everything being inside? Could it be that he was evil, that he knew better, but still did what was wrong for a big deception? He knew the truth and put it right in front of you, even in his death. But he also is responsible for this deception. And von Braun actually wrote a book. In chapter 24, page 177, he declares a man named Elon will govern Mars. A book which was written in 1957. Don't believe me? Look this up. This was all planned. Come on. Now, the moon is 27% of the size of the Earth, according to them. Take this into consideration when looking at the official NASA photo of the Earth from the moon. Also, the sky from the Earth and the sky from the moon just don't add up compared to what they tell us. Look at this. Research the Neutral Buoyancy Laboratory, the Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas. A lot of the spacesuits are just scuba diving suits. They have spinning cameras to make it appear as if the Earth is spinning. They use a string and harness combo to make them float in the lack of gravity. They also use CGI or fake objects and backgrounds. Okay, these, in air quotes, I'll put this, spacewalks are all underwater, but before they mainly utilized slow motion pictures. Okay. Let me ask, where are the astronauts today? What are they doing? Are they telling the truth? What are they getting paid for? And what exactly do they do? Okay? Do any of you personally know astronauts? Have they personally told you they've been to space and what they've seen from there? Come on, I'm challenging you guys to not live in Wonderland, but to think in reality, okay? The Apollo 11 mission in 1969 was a hoax to hide the firmament and supposedly advance in the space race. In the original videos of the moon landings, the wires can be seen giving the astronauts an effect of moving on the moon, and they had things played in a slower motion, okay? Furthermore, right, just to get to the moon, let's talk about the thermosphere and the temperatures of it. They are 500 to 2,000 degrees Celsius. Meanwhile, lead melts at 327, magnesium at 650, aluminum at 660, alum and alloys at 463 to 671, gold at 1063, copper at 1084, steel at 1425 to 1540, and titanium of 1670 degrees Celsius. What in the world was the NASA spaceship built of? Because nothing would be able to get through the thermosphere or up past the firmament, according to simple science of temperatures in the thermosphere. Just look at the spaceship that supposedly landed in the moon. It is made of white sheets of cardboard, tinfoil, wrinkly paper of multiple colors, copper foil, duct tape, and more. Oh, brother, that's insane. How could you? I'm just laughing listening to this. Guys, stick to the end, because at the end here there's a special treat of Stanley Kubrick admitting to the fact that he helped film the fake moon landing. Okay. Oh, remember when President Nixon made a phone call to the moon? I wonder why we can't call the moon now. And he's using a telephone line, okay? And you think I'm making this up? Just look it up. When Nixon made a telephone call to the moon, I believe that was in 1971, okay? Look at this. Tell me again why the Apollo 11 astronauts have a Hollywood star surrounded by upside-down stars. Look at this. The bottom of Armstrong's boots don't align with the footprints supposedly made by him on the moon. The moon is so bright that it lights up the night sky 240,000 miles away, but not when it's landed on. Moreover, the moon is said to be 2,000 miles wide and 238,000 miles away. Yet we can see the crater Tycho with the naked eyes. That's like seeing an ant at 100 yards away. Which, by the way, is utterly impossible, okay? And like I said, I have Stanley Kubrick's confession. I'll put it at the end of the video, so stick around till then, or just skip ahead if you don't want to hear the rest of this, okay? But furthermore, if you do a quick Google search on satellites, you may just notice that every image they say is genuine is actually all just CGI and cartoons. The vast majority of international data is transmitted through submarine cables. For other means, we use high-altitude balloons, planes, and drones, towers, antennas, and parabolic reflectors. Look it up if you don't believe me. Concerning the ISS, who takes all these pictures from outside of this International Space Station? Where are the stars and satellites? Do you believe this photo of the ISS to be true? Use your instincts, and you know better to know that this is not true. The Earth from Apollo 11 in 1969 compared to the Discovery Epic picture of the Earth in 2015 is exactly 6.66 times 10 to the 10th smaller than the Earth from in that mission in the picture. Okay? And why is it that way? You know, did the Earth change sizes? No, I'm telling you, this is all fake science. It is a great end time deception. Okay? Look at these. The rockets fired into space, they usually just end up in the ocean in a matter of minutes. You always see the rockets going out, but it always gets cut off. You don't see the full picture. And I'm asking you today to look at the full picture. Now, if you want to say, but bro, how in the world is believing in a globe earth satanic? Well, I'm going to get into heliocentric versus geocentric and how the earth is not a spinning ball and how you've been brainwashed into a lie that it is like the shape of a ball. Okay? So the solar system, soul lore, luring the soul, has been luring people away from God for hundreds of years. Heliocentrism is the foundation for a godless Big Bang Theory, evolution, and atheism. The Big Bang Theory tells us nothing exploded and created everything. Don't believe this lie. God made our world and existence for a purpose. We've been brainwashed into a false reality of the shape and functions of the earth from birth, education, media, the news, and more. The Helios, planets, and zodiacs align together. It's a long-time religion that people don't know they've been fed into believing. We'll get more into this, but the modern atheist, Big Bang, heliocentric, globe earth, chance evolution paradigm spiritually controls humanity by removing God or any sort of intelligent being and replacing purposeful divine creation with haphazard, random cosmic coincidence. By removing Earth from the motionless center of the universe, these Freemasons have moved us physically and metaphysically from a place of supreme importance to one of complete minimalistic indifference. Oh, but how do I know that? Listen, you know how many atheists will say, we're just a speck in the middle of nothing, which is nothing, so what does it really matter if we live or die? Well, everything changes when the truth comes out that we're at the center of creation, that God made us for a purpose, and that everything, the sun, the moon, the stars, revolve around the earth within the firmament. Everything changes, and it actually brings more credibility to the Bible according to the scriptures of it. But if the earth is the center of the universe, then the ideas of God, creation, and our purpose for human existence are resplendent. But if the earth is just one of billions of planets revolving around billions of stars and billions of galaxies, then the ideas of God, creation, and a specific purpose for earth and human existence become highly implausible. By surreptitiously indoctrinating us into their scientific materialist sun worship, by placing the sun at the center, not only do we lose faith in anything beyond the material, we gain absolute faith in materiality, superficiality, status, selfishness, hedonism, and consumerism. If there is no God and everyone is just an accident, then all that really matters is me, me, me. Their rich, powerful corporations with slick sun cult logos sell us idols to worship, slowly taking over the world while we believe their science, in quotes, vote for their politicians, buy their products, listen to their music, and watch their movies, sacrificing our souls at the altar of materialism. Okay? And you guys, listen, the brothers and people who know me know that I don't usually bring out this big language, but when it comes to this, I'm bringing it out. These are just things that I actually wrote in my book, that I can finally talk about on a podcast. But yeah, this is the other side of me that I'm showing you guys, okay? But the statistics you learned about the earth is evil freemason science, okay? Revelation 13:18 says, "Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. That is 666. And they tell us that the earth revolves around the sun at 67,000 miles per hour. Go to space.com or NASA, and you're going to see that the true number is 66,600. That the curvature per 100 square miles per foot is 6,668. There's the 666 there. Per curvature calculator. Just look up the Earth curvature calculator and look at it per 100 square miles. You're going to see the 666. That the Earth's tilts supposedly at 23.5, closer to the 23.4 degrees of which they had rounded up. If it's 23.4, you take it from the 90-degree curvature. 90 minus 23.4 is exactly 66.6. 3 instances of which talk about the tilt, the singular revolvature, and the revolving around the whole sun, all being 666. Evil Freemason science, okay? Why are the polar circles at the latitude of 66.6 degrees? Come on, guys, there's more to this. The closest galaxy is approximately 11.7 million light years away. Now, we have to look into the numbers here. 11 plus 7 is 18. 6 plus 6 plus 6 is 18. They're doing these things on purpose. You can say, well, maybe that one's a little bit of a stretch. But I'm telling you guys, this is how they work. They work in numbers, okay? And they work to deceive us. They think they're smarter than us. But God also works in numbers. And his are 777. And he has many other numbers of brilliance and far greater design than what the devil does, okay? Another example, because I can go on forever on this, I'm not even joking, I don't want to bore you guys, but supposedly they say that the moon was made 4.6 billion years ago, and the 30 to 50 million years after that, the solar system. 4 plus 6 plus 3 plus 5 is 18. Again, 6 plus 6 plus 6 makes 18. So I want you guys to think about this. And I'm going to say, welcome to the impossible. Imagine, if you will, living on a ball spinning 1,000 miles per hour where it rains up instead of down, where water is held tightly to the ball, held by an imaginary force called gravity. Balloons and airplanes fly upside down without incident. Welcome to the impossible. How could these astronauts take a photo of the still Earth if it revolves 1,000 miles within itself and about 67,000 miles in orbit? Simply answered, it would be impossible. Now let's talk about the core, okay? Supposedly the core of the Earth is 1,802 miles deep, but the deepest hole ever dug was 7.6 miles deep. So how in the world would they know what's below? How do they know there's a core? Don't let them fool you with their seismic waves and their fake science. I'm asking you, why are you taught as a fact that the Earth has a core in which everything is pulled towards? And how do you even know that? And where in the world, if hell's below, what is hell in the center of Earth? Guys, these things don't make any sense, and I want you to think logically about them. Let's talk about the sun. Look up the heliocentric rays of the sun in the umbra and penumbra to the Earth. You're actually not going to have to look it up. I'm going to put these diagrams up. And you will see that it is the shape of the sigil of Lucifer. The crepuscular waves, which are the sun rays, should be enough proof that the sun is not 93 million miles away. Okay? Because modern science teaches you that the sun is 93 million miles away. But for the sake of argument, let's just say that it is. How would the scientists know that it is 93 million miles away? Come on, guys. How would they know? I'm going to say his name wrong. Copernicus thought that the sun was 3.3912 million miles away, and he got it wrong. So why do people still trust him? A century in advance, Johannes Kepler decided it was 12.38 million miles away. Then Newton said it matters not whether we reckon it 28 or 54 million miles distance, for either could do just as well. That's a quote from Newton, guys. Benjamin Martin thought it was 81 to 82 million miles away. Thomas Dilworth thought 93.7 million miles away. John Hind said more than 96 million. And Christian Meyer claimed more than 104 million miles. These are all scientists, but they all agreed to keep it at 93 million miles in the meantime. And I will get more into detail about how the sun is not stationary. For this to be the case, the sun has to and does positively move in orbit. And I'm going to talk about, in Joshua chapter 10, talking about how the Earth would move and then how it stopped for a reason. But let's talk more about this, is that the face of the earth is the face of a clock. Okay, I hope you guys know that we live under and within intelligent design by the best designer of the world, our God. You know, the face of the earth is the face of a clock, whereas the sun and moon follow their cycles. When the sun and moon follow their cycles, they are together responsible for the seasons. This is why we get longer, warmer days in the summer and shorter, colder days in the winter. In the northern hemisphere, due to the cycle of the sun, which again is not stationary, what do these cycles look like? With one cycle being in the north and the second being in the south. The sun makes 2 complete orbits or circles. You will see the dual path of the sun if you simply pay attention each day to it. Below are some diagrams and pictures to prove this fact, or for you guys watching the video, you'll just see it right in there. Let's talk about the moon. Look at any phase of the moon and look at how many times it will not align directly to the path of the sun. Understand that the moon is, in fact, self-illuminating. A sphere reflecting light does not look like the moon. Also, based on orbital mechanics of heliocentrism, it would be impossible to see the sun and moon at the same time, but we do on many occasions. And please, if you're listening to this podcast, and even if you blow it off, one of these days you will happen to see the sun and the moon at the same time, and then reconsider what I've said. Okay, let's look at this. The stars in the supposed Earth orbit around the sun. Wouldn't we see completely different stars on one side of the sun as we do on the other side? Chew on that while you check out this diagram, okay? And even Polaris, guys, come on. The Polaris, this North Star, it never moves. It always keeps its position. How is that possible if the Earth is revolving at such speeds within itself and around the sun, okay? Now, we're going to get into true science and historical facts on the Earth being flat. Pre-1958, all encyclopedias taught a flat Earth. Until the 1950s, everybody for thousands of years believed in a flat Earth until a group of liars called NASA came out. Guys, is it not a coincidence that for thousands of years, every single society, nation, tribe, and tongue believed in a flat Earth until 1958? And many still do, but we're just caught up in such deception, you know? And you guys, and I want you guys to understand something too, is that we're in the Dark Ages now. The 15th century, that was not the Dark Ages, okay? I want you to look back then at all the architecture and the designs and everything they had back then. We have been taught terrible, terrible lies, okay? All throughout the history books, all throughout media, we've been brainwashed, and they've literally dumbed down society to make us think that we're at the height of technological advancement, just because we have an iPhone 15 and all these Apple things and, space exploration stuff, when in reality, the goal is to, again, dumb down society, give us TikTok brain, actually prevent us from making true advancements within the human race of genuine architecture and productivity within the workspace. And that's a whole nother topic, guys. I actually might even talk about how these demonic covenants within the Rockefeller committees and everything else have come to destroy your brain, your education, to make you a worker and not a thinker and everything else. We should only be workers of God, and obviously we'll work in our jobs and everything else. But for those of you listening, you know what I'm saying. Don't take me out of context here. Okay? I was already talking about the military laser sights. Let's see, the Astrolab still accurately predicts the motion of celestial bodies because it uses a flat geocentric instrument. This has been highly effective for over 2 millennia. By God, we were meant to look at the heavens as a guide for the coming days and places as our ancestors did. They used the astrolabes to determine the exact time in day and month, and in a so-called celestial sphere, which really depicted a firmament and the level of the stars where they pertain on the flat Earth. You say, well, brother, what's an astrolabe? That doesn't prove anything. Well, even think about, it's coming to me now, think about a sundial. Why is a sundial flat? And how does it work? Let's talk about a compass, okay? The function of a compass is nonsensical on a globe. Would you cut through the globe for the direction of the magnetic north? Instead, on our flat Earth, holding the compass level will lead you right to the magnetic north. A compass proves a flat Earth. On a flat Earth, a compass always points to the North Pole. If the Earth were a globe, a compass would point east and west on the equator, and in the southern hemisphere, it would point to the South Pole. Check out this diagram. Okay, think about that. Okay? If the Earth is flat, people would know that God created us according to these biblical truths. Like I said, water always finds its level, and the horizon is always at eye level. When you fly an airplane, because they're called airplanes and not air globes, you'll get that later. For any pilots out there, who is taught to dip the nose of the plane down to account for curvature? No one. Why? That is because when you fly, you maintain an altitude, okay? The Earth is flat. Hundreds of flights every day make fuel stops that make no sense on a globe, but perfect sense on a flat Earth. Even pilots fly straight and don't dip the nose. Check out these diagrams. December 17th of 1886, W.M. Carpenter wrote a book, 100 Proofs That the Earth is Not a Globe. More books on this to read include Terra Firma by David Warlow Scott, Earth is Not a Globe by Edward Hendry, Zetetic Astronomy, The Earth is Not a Globe by Samuel Robotham, 200 Proofs Earth is Not a Spinning Ball by Eric Dubé, and more. More on YouTube documentaries, that The Flat Earth in 5 Minutes by ODD Reality, NASA Whistleblowers Finally by Antonio Strikes Back, Sun and Moon Equal Opposites by Eric Dubé, Flat Earth Seasons Explained by Rob Sibka, and more. Even January 31st, 1897, the New York Journal posted a map of the ice wall and flat Earth. Here it is, guys. Okay, because come on, you're asking me for proof. I'm listing a whole bunch of proof for you, and if you're not gonna look into it, don't tell me. Don't tell me, oh well, bro, I just disagree for no reason. No, come on, get pushed past that. You know, why do you think that way? Why have you been thought that, why are you thinking this way or that way? You know, what does God say? What does the Bible say? And forget even what I'm saying. I'm just here to urge you to dig deep into the truth. Okay? Now, I will make a note that the Flat Earth Society is a hoax to make us look bad. Don't listen to them. They claim the Earth moves up, but it is stationary, as you know. And the reason I mention that is that the government will often make different societies and groups as a psyop, as a psychological operation, to make out the people of truth to be idiots. And the Flat Earth Society is one of them that makes us out to be idiots. Okay? Check this out. Like I said, every culture for thousands of years thought it was the same thing. Then a group of flyers said it was another thing concerning the flat Earth. I want you to look at this diagram, okay? And I got this from Owen Benjamin. Look, all these societies believed in a flat Earth, and many of them still do. Well, the ones that aren't extinct, but you'll see Greek, Navajo, Babylonian, Mesa, Japanese, Persian, Viking, Indian, Mayan, Incan, Hebrew, Australian, Chinese, Celtic, Chumash, Slavic, African, Sumerian, Islamic, Egyptian, Roman, and more all believed in a flat Earth in a dome or a firmament. And you say, brother, dome is so stupid. No, look up the meaning of firmament in Hebrew, okay? I'm going to need some more proof here. Hopefully this camera doesn't die on me. Government operations, okay? Operation High Jump, and guys, you got to look into this for yourselves. I'm just here providing quick, I could actually do multiple episodes on this, but I'm making this quick as possible. Operation High Jump in 1946 discovered the ice wall in a Navy South Pole expedition. Not to mention the ancestors long ago who knew about the ice wall. Operation Deep Freeze in 1955 discovered the firmament. NASA was founded in 1958 when they discovered the firmament is the Van Allen belts. The Antarctic Treaty was founded in 1959, comprising of nearly all the largest nations to guard the firmament from people knowing the truth. And just in case you guys know, the Antarctic Treaty, you could get on a cruise and pay over $1 million to go and go to Antarctica. Very few people are actually there other than government workers. And I'm going to be talking about the Antarctic Ice Wall, how it's nearly impossible to go there and why and how it's been covered up. But Operation Fishbowl in 1962 was an attempt to blow up the firmament, but miserably failed because no human can leave the third-dimensional construct or the realm of this earth, like I said, unless you leave the body. But to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord, and I want you to think about that as well. But the Cold War was also a tactic to use high-altitude missiles to try and blow up the sea of glass, otherwise known as the firmament, to get us through the heavens, because these are wicked people, and we know that Satan will be cast out of his position and thrown to the earth one day, where he's probably dwelling in the second heavens now. Let's talk about the Antarctic Ice Wall, okay? What we have been taught all our lives is that Antarctica is actually an ice wall nearly 200 feet tall, spanning nearly 60,000 miles. Captain James Cook spent over 3 years searching for an entrance onto Antarctica, but found no opening in the wall. It keeps everyone from reaching the edge of the earth. Nearly all these nations have the same agenda to provide lines of latitude and longitude, reinforcing that Antarctica is at the bottom of the globe, and clearly it is a false idea. Why would Antarctica be a no-fly zone? No exploration, no boats may approach, and so on. The United Nations agencies all have the Antarctica continent missing, and rather around the rest of the world. Check this out. The distance between the Antarctic bases don't add up for it supposedly being a continent. Just look at the distances, look up the names of the stations in Antarctica. These are the names of the stations in Antarctica, just so you know. the four says those being a great wall, dome sea, deception, and troll. You see, now you'll see that the truth is hidden in plain sight, but that is very clearly how Satanists work, okay? Few airlines fly between cities, having a great circle route over Antarctica, non-stop flights between South Africa and New Zealand, or between Perth, Australia, and certain destinations in South America, including the Buenos Aires and Sao Paulo, would fly over Antarctica, but no airline has scheduled such flights. I wonder why. So in conclusion, I want to share a quote by Mark Twain. He says, "It's easier to fool people than to convince them that they have been fooled." I pray that you don't take my words as facts, neither NASA the deceivers, but only the words of God as facts. Like I said earlier, let God be true and every man a liar. Okay? I hope that I proved that this conspiracy is factual. Men have conspired to deceive you. The Christian community is afraid to put up conspiracies, and I'm not talking about the clearly stupid ones like I mentioned, but I'm talking about the truth about men conspiring for purposes beyond the average man's daily thought to have power over him. And like I said, I can go deep in this with you guys. Maybe one day I'll expose other conspiracies that are true, like within human trafficking, Hollywood, the food industry, the pharmaceuticals, and more. But please, please, please consider everything that I have said today. I don't usually make episodes like this. I actually put this one off up until now because I was not discouraged. I was frustrated with Christian media influencers and content people coming out with 10-minute videos saying, oh, well, this is why the globe is like this and that, and these big heated debates. And guys, come on. God is not the author of confusion. So if you're confused, ask why you're confused, and ask the Lord to reveal it to you and what's going on. And I genuinely do hope somehow throughout this video, this was the most convincing flat earth argument you've ever heard. God bless.
Any movie, it's not about the movies I've made in the past. It's a confession of sorts. It's about a movie I made that nobody is aware of, even though they've seen it. I perpetrated a huge fraud, which I am now about to detail.
Okay.
Involving the United States government and NASA.
All right.
And I'm sure you've heard the rumors that the moon landing was fake. That the moon landings all were fake. And I was the person who filmed it. The conspiracy theorists were right on this occasion.
Why?
I don't know about Paul McCartney's death, but they were right.
Okay, why in God's name? Wait, I don't know what to ask you first. Why the hell, if you're telling the truth, why would you do it? Why are you telling me? I mean, what?
Do you think it's important for people to know the truth? A massive fraud, an unparalleled fraud perpetrated against them. They should know. They're already suspicious of the government. They may as well have their suspicions confirmed and justified.